Hello and welcome back to Dearnley Reads the News. I'm Jack Dearnley and I read the news so that you don't have to. Now sorry it's taken me so long to make this video. You may have noticed at the end of the last episode I got Thanos'd and it's taken me this long to renew my contract with Disney. So that's what that was about.
Dearnley Reads the News.
Just one newspaper this week because of budget cuts, and it's our old friend from episode 1, the Daily Star. Still 10p cheaper than the Sun, only now with 75% less boobs. So, heading in the right direction. Before we get to our front page headline, Dawn Neeson has asked, is niceness a hate crime? The answer to which I can only assume is no, because niceness is in fact the opposite of a hate crime. So, that's that one answered. On to our front page headline. Today, your Daily Star urges Prime Minister Theresa May to forget about boring old Brexit and sort out the real issue of the day. Save our Sally! This is the story that a woman called Sally Metcalfe has been falsely convicted of fraud and sent to prison unjustly. And the Daily Star are fronting a campaign to have her released. Now this sounds like a really tragic story and something that the news definitely should be reporting. You might even say that by campaigning to have her freed from prison, the Daily Star is doing a good thing. There's just one slight problem with the story, and that's that Sally Metcalfe is a fictional character. I imagine that most British people will know this, but on the off chance that there's any Americans watching, she's a character in a show called Coronation Street, which is a soap opera that's been running since the 1960s, and they've been doing this story recently where this one character called Sally has been framed for fraud and imprisoned. And people have just gone mad, to the point where people have been asking Theresa May to do something about it. That's the actual Prime Minister of this country, or at least at time of recording, probably not if you're watching this next week. Do you not think she might have more important things on her mind? As usual, people have taken to Twitter, with one person tweeting, I am boycotting Coronation Street until Sally is released, describing it as a sick and twisted storyline in the name of drama. Now the key word there is drama. It isn't real. It's supposed to be exciting to keep people watching. Someone else tweeted, shows how British society has deteriorated. Poor Sally is rotting away in prison and no one gives a damn. She doesn't exist! She's played by an actor! Plus she'll be out in a few months anyway, because that's how soap stories play out. Now I know that the Star's probably just having a bit of fun with this story. I'll give them a modicum of credit and assume that whoever decided to run this story had their tongue somewhat in their cheek. But still, to put it on the front page, there must be more important things going on than this. Here's a story from page 11. Hero cops battle to save tragic river tot. Now this is a story about a police officer who tried to save a 2-year-old child from a car that had rolled into a river, but unfortunately she was too late to save her. It's a very sad story, and to be fair, it's been covered quite respectfully by the Star, but don't you think that this would have been more worthy of the front page? Imagine being the family of that child, and you find out the story's going to be printed in the newspaper, and you think, oh, that's really nice of them. And then you buy the paper, only to discover that they've decided that the death of your child is less tragic than a fictional character going to prison. What are you doing, Daily Star? Sort yourself out. Now, apparently, there's been some rumours floating around recently that the singer Shawn Mendes is gay. Shawn's responded to the rumours, and he's basically said that they're not true, but he'd quite like them to stop. Fair enough. Except that to cover the story, the Daily Star have decided to go with the headline, Shawn, my gay shame, which I would say is not really an accurate representation of the story. The way they've worded it, it sounds like he's come out as gay, but he's saying that he's ashamed of that, which, first of all, is mental because it's 2018, and secondly, that's not what happened. That's not what the news is. It's the opposite of the news. The news is that Shawn Mendes isn't gay. Also, that's not news. Someone not being gay isn't news. Someone being gay is barely news in this day and age. I just stop reporting on stuff like this. It's not important. There's real news happening in the world. Here's a story about a prison officer called Ian Cox who was caught having an affair with an inmate. Not the funniest story you might think, but this line did catch my eye. The woman who he had the affair with told the jury, I looked forward to seeing Cox at work. I'm sure you don't need me to point out why that's funny. Why didn't she just call him by his first name? That's a direct quote as well. They haven't paraphrased her for comedic effect. She actually said those words. She could have just said, I looked forward to seeing Ian at work. And we'd have all known who she meant. There wouldn't have been anyone going, sorry, Ian? I know a lot of Ians. Which one? Oh, Cox! Oh, Ian Cox! Yes, the one we're having the trial about. Oh, yes, okay, never mind, as you were. This is the news. This is the actual news. This is what happened. And that's not the story. Obviously, the story isn't that she called him by his surname, but that's what I'm taking from it because it's the funny bit. The rest of the story isn't funny. The rest, he apparently assaulted someone, and he's had affairs with several other inmates. That's not, that's not funny. But Cox. And now over to Callum Battlemuch with a new segment that I'm calling the Battlemuch Report. The Battlemuch Report. Bah! Thank you, Callum. Insightful, as always. Now, usually I end these things by reading the horoscope, but unfortunately the horoscopes this week are rubbish. So I've decided instead to end with a song that I've written, just to let Sally Metcalf know that I'm thinking about her. Free Sally Metcalf. Sally Metcalf.
Dearnley reads the news.